men, and I use the term ever so loosely. Been a busy season for me. Just got done with 2 motors. I got another one I'm going to start here in a minute today. You guys seem to like the video on the 58, and as it just so happens, I got a 1959 I'm fixing to get going on. So I think I'm going to do the same kind of video I did on the 58 about the 59. Anyway, that's what we're going to do, so let's get started on that. There it is. Arrived from France, believe it or not. Crate was split open. The guts were kind of spilling out of the crate, but fortunately it looks like it's all there. So we'll get it, well, actually I've worked on it a little bit already. The crankcase you can see back there is halfway clean looking. That's been power washed, bead blasted. I cleaned it up enough to find some cracks in it. So the first thing I always do is weld the cases up, because you can't build an engine without crankcases. When I looked these over initially, covered with 50 years worth of crud or whatever, they looked perfect. After I pressure washed and sandblasted them, I found that the left one was perfect. There's no cracks in the left one, nothing I got to weld. On the right one, however, there was a very fine tight crack over here, a very fine tight crack over here, which I've since ground out, and a very fine tight crack in through here. And that also comes out on the inside. One of the things that's kind of worth looking at is this. This crack right here went through to the outside of the engine, okay? I ground the outside down. I V'd it out so I could get a weld bead in there. I didn't do the inside yet. But see this black shit? There's a little web that I haven't ground through yet that's maybe a, this web is maybe a 32nd of an inch thick. And this black shit is oil that's oozing out of that little crack. I'm going to have to grind this out, because if I don't, when the TIG arc hits it, it's going to just explode into a gob of soot, and it will make it impossible to weld. It'll probably explode into a gob of soot anyway, but I'm going to do my best to minimize that. So we got a crack there, we got to weld. Got a crack here, we're going to weld. Same thing up here, I got to grind this out so I could get to the bottom of it, weld it up, and then there's very little clearance between the generator idler gear and this crankcase, so we're going to have to machine out or grind it out to get clearance again. And then, of course, this crack in here. I'm going to do that next. I'm not going to show you the welding, because I can't weld and run a camera at the same time, and I don't have a filter so you'd actually be able to see anything, so there's really no point in it. But we'll look at it when it's done. The other concern I have when welding is that as I put heat into these areas, it's going to want to expand this metal. And as it expands that metal, this ear that the generator bolts to is going to want to move away, and it's going to make this surface not flat. So I've cleaned up the cam cover. Going to bolt the cam cover on, preheat it all, weld as much as I can on the outside. Then, of course, I'm going to have to take the cam cover off to weld inside. And when I'm done, I'm going to pull the alignment dowels out, one here and one here, and put it on a surface plate and lap it all flat again. So a bigger project than it looks like. All right, finished weld job. We're going to take off these high spots with the file until they're close. Then we'll put it over on the surface plate with some with a big sheet of sandpaper and take it all down flat. In order to do that, these alignment dowels are going to have to come out. So I suppose I may as well do that next. If a guy is lucky. And I'm probably not. Sometimes you could just grab them with the vice grips and they'll twist right out. I was kind of hoping, since I had all this heat saturated in there, that it might have loosened them up. Loosen this one up anyway. Doesn't look like it did. Yeah, broke loose, but it's still awfully tight. Alright, we're going to drill these and pull them out. That's like testing a weld job. If I don't break the whole thing off, it must be good. Okay, not going to run the tap all the way through. I don't want to break it off in there. We're just going to put it in a few threads worth. Going to pop a socket over the dowel. Got a 1032 nut. And it should come right out. That's one. That's two. Three. Alright, the first operation I'm gonna do is to flatten this surface off again. So let's take off some of this. Okay, over to the surface plate. Let's do this. Let's paint this black, figuratively speaking. Let's see how much of that Sharpie comes off. Alright, I'm going to hang as much of the cam cover sealing surface as I can over the surface plate. Well, up until this, these lumps for the oil pump, I could get that on there flat. See, kind of what I expected. This part is making good contact. This part not so much, because I believe that the heat I put in here, as it expanded the metal, it pushed it away from the sealing surface. And of course, once it solidifies, once it freezes, that becomes a permanent distortion. Now, there are some scratch marks here, so it is beginning to make contact. The long and the short of it is, I think I could safely lose 3 or 4 thousandths off of this if need be. And judging by the fact that it's contacting over here, I don't think it's going to be much. But we will be able to get a flat surface on this and get a good seal on it. Anyway, you've got the idea. I don't know, 15 minutes on the surface plate, back and forth. Sharpie's been removed all around, so the surface is flat and smooth. I'm very happy with that. I probably took off, I don't know, 3 thousandths of material, maybe, probably not even that much. I'm not worried about it because the only effect it's going to have is on cam end play, and of course I'll be checking that when I put it together. If there's not enough, I could always machine a little bit off of the shoulder on the bushings on the cam cover, but I think it's going to be fine. So next, I think I'm just going to use a Dremel tool and make this approximately round. Then of course it's going to have to go out to the milling machine because I don't have anything that can get in here to flatten this by hand. Okay, this is the bushing that was in there. Obviously, you can't use it over again. But I'm just going to round this out where the weld went inside there. Case is clamped down on the lathe bed. This is just all by eyeball. So we're going to turn around and hope for the best. Hopefully I won't break nothing, huh? I'll call that good. Okay, I'm fixing to do the last thing I'm going to do today, which is to put this bushing in. I've marked where the old alignment pin was, not because I'm going to try to hit that spot exactly again, but because I want to miss it completely and get a fresh new hole. This bushing is 1/1000th of an inch bigger than the old bushing. It's a nice fit on the idler gear. It might close up when it gets knocked in. We're going to use some green Loctite on it. Because I don't want to break this off, the ear is supported on these blocks of 2x4 so that when I go to knock it in, this will be supported. It won't be flopping in the breeze. Welds are done. Everything is dressed out. I showed you this on the milling machine. I milled this out on the milling machine. Touched it up with the Dremel tool. But anyway, we're going to knock this in with some green Loctite on it, and hopefully it'll go in the hole. Alright, ready to knock it in. Nice. Yeah, and as suspected, it did close up a little bit. As it so happens, I have a 9/16 reamer. It is 0.561. No, it is 0.562. The shaft on the gear is 0.561. So theoretically, I'll just ream it and it should be fine. Whether it lines up or not, that's another question. Well, it didn't take much, if anything, out of there. But the gear fits perfect. Okay, I'm done for today. It's been hot. Been back and forth to the dirty shop. This, machining wise, is ready to go. I'm going to give it one more sandblast and clean it up. While y'all weren't looking, I put a heating coil in, a stripped out thread over here. Really, this case is in very good shape, other than these cracks that it had. The last thing I need to do to verify all these welds in this case repair over here is this. I replaced and reamed this bushing to fit this gear. I got to make sure the cam cover fits with the alignment dowels in position and make sure that this gear still spins freely, because it is possible that with the welding and replacement of this bushing, it won't line up with the bushing on the cam cover. So let's see if I got lucky. Okay, because the gasket affects the end play of the idler gear and the cam gears, I put a gasket in place, so let's see what happens. Beautiful. Perfect. Trying to feel if there's any end play in it. I can't really feel any end play, but the gear is free and loose in there, so this is good. Well, as far as the work I did on it, the welding, the bushing, the gear, and the reaming and all that is good. So, of course, we're going to check the cams once I get cam bearings in there. But anyway, this is done. So with that, I am out of here. Hey, thanks for watching. Coffee cups and stickers, links down below. Join me on Patreon if you feel like it. We'll see you next time. Bye.